Hey friend, Sean from Draft Therapy here, and on today's review for you, One Well, welcome to the East Side. Whoppy is a 6% IPA from One Well Brewing in Kalamazoo, Michigan. I've heard a lot of great things about One Well Brewing, and while I have seen an occasional can here or there on the shelves on the west side of the state, it's never made its way to the southeast side until now. So I'm pretty hyped to bring this one to the channel, really ever since I bought it, but I'm going to temper that hype because hype, as you know, is the beer killer. Now, One Well describes Whoppy as a hoppy wheat ale, and that's where it gets its name, which they also describe on this can. So without talking too much about the name and all that stuff, we're going to take a look at the label. We'll get it into a glass. Fun fact, Orville Gibson produced the first documented Gibson instrument, and Elvis Presley had an office in Kalamazoo when he visited the Gibson Guitar Factory, because that's where Gibson Guitar Factory was, in Kalamazoo, Michigan. All right, so we're going to take a look at the can here. This is a pretty cool can. Pretty cool label design. They have a lot of stuff going on in the background. It has a lot of this like cartoonish kind of illustration on it, and that One Well stuff all has this really kind of whimsical kind of cartoon style. And on the front, well, let's talk about across the top. It says high fives over handshakes, keepers of craft, and high fives over handshakes again. And then starting from the top, it says One Well Brewing, Kalamazoo, Michigan, Whoppy. And on the front it has two rabbits with like, they look like 50s or 60s kind of high school students. The one with the H on it for Hoppy has a yellow, kind of like a cheerleader dress. And then the other one, the other rabbit, the darker gray one, has a W on his Letterman jacket, which is for the wheat ale part of it. And then it says India Pale Ale brewed and canned by One Well Brewing in Kalamazoo, Michigan. And on the back it says Whoppy, wheat plus hoppy, 1 pint, 16 fluid ounces, 6% alcohol by volume. Tell me more, tell me more. This IPA provides a soothing mouthful of goodness. The crisp and light body delivers wonderfully romantic hints of passion fruit and grapefruit, pulled from the Citra hop's natural flavors. Whoppy is a sunset of deliciousness and always leaves your taste buds with a happy ending. And then it says Bigfoot tested, wizard approved, which are both represented on this can, onewellbrewing.com. And one of One Well's beers, I remember, has a wizard on it. I don't know the name off the top of my head. If you know, leave me a comment. But yeah, it just has a lot of stuff in the background. A lot of it looks like almost like a, if you ever saw like a classified ad on a newspaper or in a yearbook, you know, all the different ads that they help kind of subsidize the yearbook itself. And then it says, it has the government warning also on the back for the 10-cent Michigan deposit. And then art and design by Mike Clock, Stuffed Brain Studio. So Stuffed Brain, really cool designs here on the can. And it has One Well's logo, which is a well with a bucket going in. It's a silhouette of that. So I'm going to grab, for this beer, I'm going to grab my IPA glass. No fear. You have no fear, everybody. This is not the glass that got broken. I made the tribute video about. I had an extra one. I bought this one at the same time. So, but after this one's gone, I don't think I'm going to buy any more because these walls are really thin. But let's go ahead and crack this, put a nose on the can. Actually, looking at the bottom real quick, the date on the bottom says 1/23/20, which is January 23rd. And it says East Side, here we come. Again, this is the first, they put out 4 different beers, One Well did, that made it here to the East Side. 2 different, I want to say golden ales. I could be wrong on that. This one, and then one other, which I can't remember off the top of my head. But let's put a nose on the can here. It's got a nice citrus hoppiness, hoppy aroma to it. Smells like an IPA, straight up IPA. No real deviation, at least on the aroma department. Let's go ahead and pour this. A nice golden color coming out of the can here. And collecting as a nicer golden color in the glass. I'm going to stop that. I think I probably overfill it if I just let it go. But as you can see from here, it's an easily 2 fingers worth of head. The overhead, you can see that head is just really nice and compact. It's got a lot of kind of larger, bubbles from the pour, but very compact, very stuck together, very, just a crowded head, a lot of bubbles in there. And I see a little bit of carbonation rising up. Let's go ahead and hold this one up to the light. And it's a little bit lighter, a little bit more filtered, a little clearer than I would expect to see from like a wheat. But it's not like totally filtered like you would see from a macro or some IPAs are super clear. This has a little bit of kind of, some particulate floating in suspension here in the glass. A nice stream of carbonation. You can see just a little bit of haze in there. And let's give it a smell out of the glass here. Yeah, it has like a sweet kind of crisp aroma to it. Very citrus forward. Smells kind of like orange juicy, almost not juicy like you would think of a New England style IPA, but it does have kind of a citrus aroma to it. Smells really good, so let's go ahead and dive right in. Cheers. That's got a really nice flavor to it. A really nice kind of just medium mouthfeel, just right in the middle. The flavor is very orangey. I'm getting a really strong orangey characteristic, not a juicy orange characteristic, but more of a citrus orangey characteristic. It has a bit of a sweetness to it. So it's citrusy, not orange juicy, but it has an orange citrus taste to it. But it's also like a sweet orangey kind of flavor, or a sweet citrus kind of flavor, but not juicy. It doesn't give off a juicy vibe. And the bitterness is really slight. It's really smooth. It's in there. It has a bit of a crispness to it. The mouth, or the actual aftertaste, has a tiny hair of this crisp kind of dry characteristic, but it's not overly dry. It's not brute, territory dry, but it does have a dryness to it on the finish. It's got almost a tiny hair of this malty characteristic as well, but it's not super in your face. It's just really super subtle, really far, really deep down in there. I know the label mentioned grapefruit and passion fruit. Maybe that sweetness, that kind of orangey, citrusy sweetness that I'm picking up is maybe a little bit of that passion fruit kind of flavor, but I'm not picking up a lot on the bitterness on the grapefruit part of it. Maybe more of like a pink grapefruit, more of a sweeter grapefruit, less than like a yellow or a white grapefruit, which are usually a lot more bitter. I'm not picking up on a whole lot of bitterness. It is definitely an IPA. It's just not super in your face. The hoppiness, the bitterness just isn't super in your face, but it's really nice, really crisp, really clean beer at 6%. This is almost sessionable territory in these days, right? Because most IPAs seem like they're skyrocketing up into oblivion, but this is 6%. You can have a couple of these. It's not going to put you under. And it's got a really nice crisp taste to it. It didn't blow me out of the water, but it's a really nice, just perfectly fine IPA, 6% IPA. I'm not noticing much of the wheat ale kind of characteristic really kicking in much. I don't get a lot of those wheat characteristics, but I'm getting more of an IPA kind of taste. And I'm just looking forward to drinking more from One Well. I think if this is, a indication of what's to come, great beer. But I'd love to see more of their style, more of their, variety of their style. This one is it's a little bit above average, but it doesn't blow me away. But it's a good beer and a first great beer for coming over to the east side. All right, friends, that has been Whoppy from One Well in Kalamazoo, Michigan. Here's to hoping they bring more of their beer to the east side. So have you had this one before? Have you had One Well before? Do you have a favorite? Let me know in the comments down below. And while you're down there, if you like beer, you might want to subscribe and click that bell, because I'm here talking about beer twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays. It's all for free for viewers just like you watching. And you might miss your newest favorite if you're not subscribed and getting those notifications. So until next time, I'm Sean from Draft Therapy. Thanks for stopping by. And remember, drink craft beer, support your local breweries wherever they are. And most importantly, don't forget to treat yourself to a little draft therapy. Thanks for watching. Cheers.